Hi, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time for another video edition of A Widower Wednesday. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and today we are going to discuss whether widows and widowers can love their second spouse just as much as their late spouse, and also what you should do if your spouse confesses to you that they will always love their late husband or wife more than you. The idea from this came from something that blew up on Reddit and on X. I'm going to read it here, and we'll discuss those issues. This is how it starts. It says, "My wife, 39 female, and I, 40 male, have been married for 10 years and have 3 kids. This is my wife's second marriage. She married her first husband at 25, but he sadly passed away a few months later. Last night, we were having a discussion about first loves and exes in marriage. We were both drunk and extra emotional." So, side note here, probably not a good discussion to have, even if you're not drunk or emotional, but discussing first loves, exes in marriage when you're happily married, probably not a good idea. Anyway, my wife was somehow more even drunk than me and was slurring her words. Well, as we were getting all emotional, she was talking about her late husband, saying she'll always love him the most no matter what. As she was saying this, she also had a tear in her eye. We both went to sleep shortly after. Well, come morning, it seems like my wife has forgotten what she said last night, which is understandable because she was blackout drunk. But I still remember it, and it felt like a bullet has pierced my heart. I have no complaints about my wife. We have an amazing family, but it just hurts that my partner of 10 years doesn't put me first in her love for me. Would I be wrong in asking for a divorce? So short answer is yes, you would be wrong in asking for a divorce, and I'll get into that when I read the sad update post here in a second. But I do want to say that your feelings are normal. You know, feeling like a bullet has pierced your heart. I think anyone who is in a serious relationship with a widow or widower, has those feelings of will they be able to love me as much as they do their a late spouse? And I got videos on how you can know that and things. I'm not going to go into that, but I think the feeling of just maybe betrayal and having just a complete letdown is very normal. And I've talked to people who have done that, and I've even talked to people who maybe have had their widow or widower spouse kind of say something similar. Not a great thing, but I'll talk you through it here in a sec. So anyway, I just wanted to get out of the way that that this person's feelings are normal. Is divorce overreaction? Yes, and I'll get to that. But the feelings of betrayal there and being let down are completely normal, especially where they have 3 kids. They've built this wonderful family together. Saying that, yeah, total big bomb going off in the a marriage there. But I do want to address something with widows and widowers, and that is, I think there's always this concern, again, will they love me as much as their late spouse? And it was interesting reading the replies to this on Reddit and on X. A lot of people out there who weren't widowed, by the way, but they were saying, well, if my spouse died, I'd always love them more. I may not confess that to my living spouse, but I'd always love them more. And then even some widows and widowers are chimed in and says, well, yeah, I always love my late spouse more than the person I'm dating. So I want to start by saying, if you're going to marry somebody, if you're a widow or widower and you're going to marry somebody and you can't love that person as much as you did your late spouse, I'm not saying you have to love them more, but if you can't love them as much as you can your late spouse, you shouldn't get married, because the person that you're marrying deserves the same amount of respect and love that you gave their late spouse. Now, I'm not saying you can't, you have to stop loving your late spouse, but 99.6% of your heart, mind, energy, all that should be towards your living spouse, and they should feel like that most days, 364 out of 365 days, that you're present with them, that you're there, and that you have their back, and that they're the number one person in your life. So if you feel that the person you're dating or whatever, or the person, if you're thinking about getting married, and in the back of your mind, that person's just never going to measure up, don't get married, because you're going to have an incident like this at some point. It's going to come out, and it's going to destroy marriage. And personally, it's not worth putting men and women through emotional hell like this guy's going through, knowing that they'll never measure up or that they'll never be loved as much. So I'm just going to get it out there. You need to be able, if you cannot make that mental change, to say to yourself, I can love somebody as much as I love my late spouse, maybe even more, it does happen, then you need to not get married and maybe not get into a serious relationship until you can do that. Now, I think you could probably make a case here where how serious was she, where she was blackout drunk? I don't know, but again, it doesn't matter if she was serious or not. The point is it was said, and there's some repair work that needs to be done there. And I have coaching sessions all the time where I'm talking to couples where the widow or widower has said something dumb like that, and they're trying to fix it. But here's the thing, though, is that it can be repaired and it can be fixed. So I'm going to read you the sad update here to this post and talk about why I think he's overreacting here in this update. So here is the update. He says, After a lot of deliberation, talks with my wife, and internal soul searching, I have decided to go ahead with the divorce. My wife promised me that she did not remember confessing that she would always love her late husband more, and I believe her. She was drunk, and I myself don't remember most of what I say or do when I'm blackout drunk. She kept apologizing for what she said, and I had to convince her that she had no reason to apologize. She's a genuine person, and I truly believe she loves me, and her actions prove that. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to say, look, she was drunk, she's apologizing, and he truly believes that she loves me and that her actions prove that. Yeah, that's good. That is good. But then he says this. He says, however, I now also believe that she has always been suppressing her feelings towards her late husband, and subconsciously she has never loved me for who I am, but instead as a replacement for her late husband. It is not the love I want and not the love I am fulfilled with. And this really hurts me. I've put a lot into this family the last decade, and it's extremely heartbreaking. And it's not really my wife's fault either. How can it be? Her first husband died an extremely tragic death in a few months into her marriage, and she will always love him, and I can't fault her for that. So I'm going to go back here. Well, actually, let me finish. She says, I told my wife a couple hours ago of my plans to go ahead with the divorce. And my God, it was heartbreaking. It's going to be heartbreaking for our kids, but I deserve a chance at love, and the love I want, the love which makes me emotionally fulfilled, and my decision is final. So by the way, if you wrote this and you're watching, probably a divorce in this case is one of the worst things you could possibly do. You have a marriage of 10 years, you have 3 kids, and a wife that loves you, and you're going to throw that away over a comment she made when she was drunk. And I don't know, again, where she was drunk. I don't know how much stock we should put into that. I think that's aside. Again, I think you're right to kind of be hurt by the comment. And I think maybe feeling like that comment made you feel like a replacement. I think that's normal. But if that's the only thing in this 10 years, whereas, you've been married 10 years here, you have 3 kids. If that's the only thing she's done in 10 years to make you feel like a replacement, you're overreacting. If she hasn't done anything in 10 years to make you feel like a replacement until she confessed something when she was drunk, you're overreacting by doing this divorce. Now, I do, and again, I'm reading this. You haven't, it would be different if you could say, hey, this is a reoccurring pattern. It seems like every 3 or 4 months she talks about her late husband and how much she misses him, and this has been going on for 10 years. I'd say, wow, you put up with a lot, and maybe, separate, it doesn't sound like she's totally into the marriage, and maybe separating is the right thing to do. But that's not what I'm getting here, is again, you wrote, she's a genuine person. I truly believe she loves me, and her actions prove that. This is the first time in 10 years that he's had any reason to doubt this. And I just don't feel that a divorce is necessary in this case. Because again, I've talked to lots of clients over the years, lots of clients who have had similar issues, especially where the non-widowed person doesn't feel like number one for some reason. It could be something stupid that the widow or widower said. It could be their actions. There's 100 things I could put in here. But the thing is that really, if these couples want it to work, it can work. This is an issue that can be overcome. And yes, it's not going to be just something you can just apologize for and make it better. There's probably some stuff she's going to have to do to really prove that he's number one in her heart. But a divorce is an overreaction for this kind of incident. There's no reason we should divorce somebody that she said when she was blackout drunk. I'm sorry, you're overreacting here. And again, if you're in this thing, I'm happy to talk to you and talk to your wife and try to make it better. Or if you're, in a similar thing, but you're way overreacting here, it makes me wonder. Honestly, it makes me wonder if there was something else going on that, some other stuff that you didn't put in here. I do agree that you do deserve a love which makes you fulfilled, but I don't see any reason why that your wife here can't give you that love. So divorce is an overreaction, and I think in the future going forward, alcohol, as they say, alcohol giveth, alcohol taketh away. Probably cut back on the drinking, it sounds like. That would probably actually go a long way to maybe things, perhaps making things better in your marriage. So anyway, put your thoughts, questions, comments below. Feel free to subscribe to this channel as well. If you want to schedule a coaching session with me and discuss issues like this or other issues, there's a link down in the description where you can do that as well. I'm Abel Keogh, author of the book Dating a Widower, and I'll see you next Wednesday.